problem. She couldn't do the ranch anymore. She was allergic to everything in the barn. So I said, we can't do this anymore. You're sick all the time. So we moved in. But I will say this about Congresswoman Bachmann. When I moved into her district, she sent me a beautiful letter welcoming me to the district and said, Governor, if there's anything I can ever do for you, never hesitate to call me.
Well, that is nice. At least she respects the position you held and the knowledge you had, and she was saying, that she would listen to you. That's
right. But then when I did go to her for help, she didn't help. You know what it was over?
Let me just guess. Is it the Patriot Act?
No.
TSA?
I went to her because in my TV show, Conspiracy Theory, we wanted to make the final shot of me standing at the eternal flame of Jack Kennedy, right?
Sure.
Well, we went through proper channels, and guess what? The United States government turned me down, and in their letter that they turned me down with, they stated they didn't like the content of my TV show.
Wow.
Oh, so because they didn't like the content, you don't have access to national treasures that the people of America own, not the government.
That you're paying through your taxes for.
Yeah, exactly, guys. So I went to Bachmann, right? I was outraged. I said, give me a break. I'm a veteran. I'm a Navy veteran. If Jack Kennedy were alive today, and I'll bet you he would say I could go to his eternal flame, because Jack Kennedy created the Navy SEALs. And so, anyway, she contacted the person in charge of government, and she got a letter back where the guy actually states in the letter, yeah, we don't like the content, and he also lied, and he said that it requires the approval of the Kennedys. Well, we then contacted the Kennedy family, and it's crazy. We have nothing to do with that. It's Arlington National Cemetery.
Well, that sounds like the title should be 64 documents the government doesn't want you to read.
So I went back to Bachmann, and I said, you're like, she wrote me this letter, I hope you're satisfied. I said, no, I'm not. I said, fire this guy. I said, if I could, I would. You allow government employees to lie to you? And she never did nothing about it.
Wow.
That's outrageous. Another one of my pet peeves that I discuss all the time on my show is I'm tired of organizations like NATO, the UN, the World Trade Organization. It seems they dictate more policy in America than our own people and government do anymore. What do you feel about those organizations?
Well, unfortunately, global government may be inevitable.
That's scary to me.
We may be evolving to it. And I say this not because I think it's good, but it may be inevitable because the world's getting smaller with the computers all the time, where we can get in touch with anyone now. The world is getting tinier. And maybe 100 years from now, there will be one government that runs the planet. We don't know. It could be evolution that gets us there, and it may be nothing we can do about it.
Let's just hope it's not a tyrannical one.
It, but who knows?
Yeah, that's scary. I really wish I could have seen some of the other congressmen and senators jump on with Congressman Paul when he just presented that bill to pull us out of the UN. We're the people who fund it. They're always criticizing us. I'm just tired of that organization, but nobody ever seems to support a good idea in Washington anymore.
Well, you got to look at it, from the aspect that the one positive thing, though, if there would become a world government, well, wouldn't that mean there wouldn't be any more wars?
Oh, I'm sure they'd figure out a way.
Exactly, but hypothetically, if there was one overbearing world government, then there wouldn't be any more war, would there?
I don't know. Einstein argued that, Bertrand Russell, and they're smarter than me, so maybe you're right, but my problem is this. The federalism of the United States, we still had the Civil War, which was at that time the bloodiest war that we'd ever had, so I don't know that it would necessarily go away.
Well, and you have too many, as you said, religious incorporations who differ in views. You have the Islam, the Muslims. I just don't ever see peace.
Wait, maybe what we need is this then. A global government, and like John Lennon said in his great song Imagine, maybe we don't need no religion.
Yeah, I think that it causes a lot more problems than it solves.
I've come out of the closet,
Well, I'm a religious man, and I think
what I said? I've come out of the closet.
Right? Did you do it on our show?
No, but I've come out of the closet, and I'm not gay. I've come out of the closet. This is why I can't get elected anymore if I run. You know why?
Why?
I've come out of the closet, and I've admitted I'm an atheist.
Yeah, I think there's only one openly atheist congressperson in the entire United States.
There is? Who's that?
I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. But
I don't believe it. Because I don't believe you could get elected in the United States unless you belong to a religion.
Well, there's five states in our country that actually have it in their state constitutions that you cannot even run for office if you're an atheist.
You see?
Yeah, it's certainly an intolerant position because, the funny thing I find is they constantly do surveys, and who the only group, religious group, I mean, I know atheists are not religious, but, with the viewpoint that ranks below atheists is Scientologists. I mean, that's crazy to me. I know a lot of people who are either agnostic or atheist or deist. They don't subscribe to a Christianity or Muslim or Judaism or anything like that, and they're nice, good, or moral, upstanding citizens.
They're intelligent people. Because I'll follow with this: I don't believe in the Easter Bunny, I don't believe in Santa Claus, and I don't believe in the Tooth Fairy either.
Well, Governor, you certainly aren't afraid of controversy and speaking.
Speak your mind.
And you know what else? I'm going to get a new Christopher Hitchens, who's also an atheist, the great writer.
Yeah,
I did it because he said we need to come out of the closet, all of us intelligent people.
Yeah,
and he's got a great T-shirt that I got to get one. You know what it says?
What's that?
It says I'm African American. Because if you believe in evolution, all scientific evidence indicates the first man started in Africa. So that means essentially all of us are African American.
That's funny. The only thing I would say about this, and I'm agnostic, so I'm with you for the most part. You just got to be careful because Hitchens is a well-known neocon as well.
Well, yeah, I don't have to agree with him on that, but
yeah, sure.
I do agree though on that it's well. Actually, I cite a great deal with George Carlin, the comedian.
There you go. Me too.
George worshiped the sun. That's what I worship now. Like George said, the sun brings me everything. It brings me heat. It brings me food. It makes everything great. And the best thing about the sun, it comes up every day and I can see it, which gives it great credibility.
Yeah, well, I would be a little bit of different opinion from you two. I am actually a religious person, but I still would vote for you as governor if you were living here in Utah. So
yeah, that's right.
Again, people need to understand, just because you don't believe in a supreme being does not mean you don't have values. And in fact, many times you'll have more values. You know why? Because you don't necessarily believe there's a life hereafter.
Yeah, that this is the life worth protecting.
Exactly. You don't do things for this belief that somehow you're going to a better place.
Well, after living here and seeing which direction we're heading, I'm hoping on that better place.
Well, and that's what scared me about George Bush is like a guy with his finger on the nuclear trigger that really believes in the rapture and all that kind of stuff. That scares me.
Yeah, but you know why he did that, don't you? Because he became born again at age 40, and in the born again belief, everything you did prior to being born again, they can't bring up anymore because you're a new person.
Well, that makes sense for him.
That's what it comes from. Because once you've become born again, everything you did before that is wiped clean.
And how many times can you become born again, though? Because I've seen quite a few of them announce it like 16 times.
Oh, exactly, but I mean, that's why Bush did it, because you noticed nobody was allowed to ask anything about George Bush prior to him turning 40. That's why we couldn't look at his military service. That's why we couldn't look at when he was drinking and doing drugs and snorting coke when he was in college. All of that stuff got cast aside because he became born again, and all the born-agains, that's their belief, that the minute you're born again, everything you did prior to that, you've been forgiven for.
Governor, you're probably one of the most honest people I've ever talked to, so I'm going to ask you two different questions.
Maybe Charles Manson should try that.
Maybe. Two questions. I want your honest opinion. A lot of rhetoric's been thrown about Donald Trump out there, and Donald Trump has lived on a lot of other people's money. He's made money. He's lost money. I'm not saying anything about that, but I've sort of liked what he's had to say about tariffs, and we're the only country that allows free trade. What do you think Trump's chances are if he announces he's going to run?
First of all, he won't, because he did this already a decade ago.
It's just a ploy.
Donald, and I know Donald, and I consider Donald a friend. Donald loves publicity. Donald loves to be in the limelight. And all he has to do is rattle his sword about running for president, and he'll get on every TV show. He'll get all the publicity in the world. But when push comes to shove, Donald Trump, in my opinion, will not run.
Okay, and then the other question a lot of people are tossing around, and Trump just went on, and the reason I'm going to ask you is about Obama's birth certificate.
Well, from what I heard, the governor of Hawaii already produced it a number of years ago, and, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a more interesting thing. I talked to a guy who claims that Obama used to work in the CIA.
Well, he worked for Business Machines International, which is a very prominent front company for the CIA.
Exactly. And why did he travel all over the world at a young age like he did? And the CIA does everything with front companies. And by the way, let me regress. Did you see my show where we got the confession by E. Howard Hunt that he took part in killing John Kennedy?
Yeah, that was your show has really
and yet not one mainstream media even mentioned it.
Yeah. And what about your show getting pulled? That one that was pulled from people's DVRs? Wasn't it on like FEMA or no? The Homeland Security.
It was on the police state where we found that there's a bill where Homeland Security's ordered FEMA to create no less than 6 internment camps.
And that was actually pulled from people's TiVos, right?
Oh yeah. They came down hard on that baby. That was the only one that I have now been censored because they came to Time Warner, True TV pulled it and won't even acknowledge we made the show now.
That is amazing. We're talking here with Jesse.
Censorship's alive and well in America.
We're talking with Jesse Ventura. He's got a new book, 63 Documents the Government Doesn't Want You to Read. And, I guess censorship's alive and well, but thank goodness for Skyhorse Publishing, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, Skyhorses, excuse my expression, they're ballsy, boy.
I wish some more members of Congress would be.
They also print all of L. Fletcher Prouty's books, and if you want to read some great books, get the books from Colonel L. Fletcher Prouty.
He's the one who wrote the stuff about the CIA, right?
Yeah. Well, do you know who he was? Did you see the movie JFK with Oliver Stone made?
Yeah.
Okay, L. Fletcher Prouty is the character that Donald Sutherland played called Mr. X that Kevin Costner went to see in Washington. That character is based on L. Fletcher Prouty.
I'm going to have to re-rent that now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and contact some of these guys, too, and get them on the show, because I try and get...
Prouty's dead. Fletcher died in 2001.
Well, then that probably wouldn't be good unless I could get somebody to channel him, huh?
Yeah.
And so, but E. Edward Hunt actually gave you an exclusive, right?
No, this was a deathbed confession from and he confessed to his son, St. John.
I see.
And it's on video, audio, and written. And then no one will listen to the son except me, and we put it on TV, the full confession. He said that it fell under, and it follows right into this CIA. You might ask your CIA guy about the assassination. Ask him about William Harvey, because William Harvey was the head of the CIA's assassination unit, and also ask about David Morales. Write those two names down, William Harvey and David Morales. Okay?
I will.
Now, what? You know what else Morales is famous for?
What's that?
Well,